as usual, there's no script. I'm just going to talk and see what happens. Anyways, recently I've seen a concerningly high number of videos expressing concern, expressing doubt that Topuria is going to eviscerate Justin Gaethje in less than 1 minute. I think that's a little bit too much for me. And by too high, I mean several. I don't watch too many MMA YouTubers. But really, Justin Gaethje, of all the fighters Topuria has faced, it's going to be Justin Gaethje that beats him? Come on. I mean, such foolishness needs to be utterly refuted. Now, before I even talk about the fight itself in Topuria, I'm going to talk about chance. So what is chance? Chance is just the absence of information. For instance, if I flip a coin, the moment that the coin is in the air, people will say, oh, it's 50-50, it could be heads or tails. That's simply ignorance. If we knew everything about the density and composition of the coin, the conditions, the environment that the coin was being flipped in, the material that it was going to land on, the amount of energy applied on the coin, and so on, we could predict with 100% accuracy whether the coin was going to land on heads or tails. But since we don't have the information available to us, we call it chance. That is what chance is. It's filling in the blanks when we don't have all the information. But there is such an abundance that there is completely sufficient evidence to conclude that Topuria has a 100% chance of winning. Because when the event actually happens, when an event is actualized, when it's realized, then there's a 100% chance that the event will occur because it already occurred. And actually, if you really think about it, there was a 100% chance it always would occur, unless there's a truly random event. I guess with like a random number generator, but I don't actually know how that works, random number generator. Anyways, when it comes to this fight, no, Topuria's, he's pretty much already won. Like the fight is already over. There is a 100% chance he'll win. I'm not even going to give Gaethje a like a 1% chance. He has a 0% chance of winning because, yeah, again, everything I just said about chance. People are going to fill in the blanks. People are going to express uncertainty. But if you look at everything that's out there, the outcome is very clear. And there will only be one outcome. And that outcome has a 100% chance of occurring. And that outcome is Topuria just doing horrible things to Gaethje inside the first round. I'd say inside like the first 5 exchanges. And that's being kind of generous. Now, two people that people brought up were, I almost lost my train of thought, but Merab and Chimaev. The problem with Merab and Chimaev is they've been wildly inconsistent and they have huge glaring weaknesses in their games. They've shown to be very vulnerable and beatable in a lot of their past fights, especially with Merab. And you have to consider Merab was about to defend his title 5 times. No, 4 times in a year. So the brutal weight cut, that obviously played a factor. Although Jan was injured too, wasn't he? Now, as for Merab, he's lost before in his career. And he's had so many moments in his even in his championship reign, he had so many moments where he looked vulnerable. He got hurt, he got rocked. He showed a complete inability to submit people. I mean, I guess he submitted O'Malley, but let's just be real. O'Malley just gassed out and gave him the easiest choke in the world. Just just gave him the high risk position for free, and then yeah, that was genuinely awful. But apart from that, against competent grapplers, Merab's not going to submit them. He's not going to finish them in the ground and pound. If you just give your back to Merab, then he's just going to refuse to put hooks in, and you could just stand and lean against the cage. And yeah, Jan exposed what was always on display, which is Merab's abysmal striking defense, especially in the pocket. He's super hittable, super easy to get tagged, very open to the body. And his biggest asset is his cardio and wrestling, but he doesn't actually have elite controller submissions or grounded pound. So yeah, Merab he's going to do the same to him. He's going to mog him, just annihilate him in the rematch. That's not going to be close. So yeah, he's probably done. I like Merab, but he's probably done. And again, this was nothing new. These weaknesses were always present, and he had a very razor thin close with razor thin. Oh my goodness, I'm losing my ability to speak. But his fight with Umar was very close. It was razor thin close, whatever. Who cares? Anyways, I'm not gonna cut that out, by the way. Now Chimaev, he always had pretty terrible cardio, and for some reason, I mean, I guess his compromised immune system, he just can't cut weight. Every time Chimaev has this mentality, and by the way, a very cowardly, weak mentality of if you can't just dominate and run through your opponent, and the moment they show you some adversity, you just shut down, and he turns from the wolf into like the puppy. when someone is somewhat competent in the grappling department, if you can't just murder them instantly, then he just refuses to grapple until the last minute or the last second of the second round. Then he shoots a takedown like he did against Usman. I mean, he completely stopped grappling against Burns offensively when Burns attempted one armbar that wasn't even close to getting sunken in. So, and again, Chimaev's striking is it's really bad. It's really awful for a championship caliber fighter. I mean, Strickland essentially had one functioning arm, and he beat Chimaev with a jab. Chimaev could not figure out in all the time that he's trained MMA, he couldn't figure out how to turn his forearm inwards or parry, or maybe even slip. Strickland was just piercing through his guard, his really terrible high guard that he doesn't know how to use, just over and over again, and he just beat him with the jab. So yeah, that's Chimaev for you. Now, to talk about Justin Gaethje a little bit, people are acting like he's this huge power threat that he could fluke KO Topuria. Since Khabib, and I don't care about who Justin Gaethje fought before that. His record, his stats are super padded because he fought a bunch of bums on the regional scene, and yeah, of course he flatlines them. Are you kidding me? But I mean, even in the UFC, who did he actually knock out? Okay, he knocked out James Vick, glass jaw. He knocked out Michael Johnson, fiberglass jaw. He knocked out, what was it, Edson Barboza? Again, another glass jaw, and he didn't see the punch coming. So not super impressive, super elite competition. Not you cannot compare that to the guys that Topuria has consecutively knocked out. Absolutely no comparison. The moment Gaethje started fighting the higher levels, like once he entered the upper echelons of the UFC, that's precisely the moment he stopped getting these brutal knockouts. Again, I mean, Poirier beat him precisely by countering his leg kicks and catching him. Alvarez beat him in a scrap in a war. Eddie Alvarez of all people. I mean, Eddie Alvarez, I like Alvarez a lot. He's a really solid fighter, but I mean, still can't compare him to Topuria. Like, come on, man. Alvarez outdogged him. And then, yeah, since he lost to Khabib, he has only one win by KO, which was when he flush head kicked Poirier. Well, Poirier actually partially blocked it, but Gaethje has never shown that cross high kick combo again and had success with it, as I remember. He went to decision against Chandler, getting rocked in that fight. He went to decision twice against Fiziev, and Fiziev, he mogged him when it came to the jiu-jitsu. He showed better jiu-jitsu than Justin Gaethje, which is an absolutely terrible sign for this fight. And then what else? His other decision win. Two times against Fiziev. Oh, and then, yeah, Paddy Pimblett. Couldn't get Paddy Pimblett out of there when Pimblett's head was on a silver platter for 25 minutes. Just he doesn't know what head movement is. And then, yeah, Holloway flatlines him. And then he gets submitted by Khabib and Oliveira. And yeah, he did knock down Oliveira, but he couldn't finish him. So, whereas Topuria just needed one punch, Oliveira was completely dead. And Oliveira also knocked down Gaethje. So, yeah, really not a good look. Yeah, this is a big point. So, yeah, Gaethje got completely mogged by Holloway. Holloway destroyed him in the speed department. Gaethje looked like he was just... There was such a clear speed advantage. I can't even put it into words. He was constantly whiffing. Holloway was in complete control of the distance. He was finding the chin of Gaethje over and over, rocked him multiple times before knocking him out, broke his nose with a short-range spinning back kick. Really not a good look. And just showed to be way more technically proficient. And there was no point where I felt Holloway was in any danger during that fight. I mean, Gaethje briefly dropped him, but Holloway just got dropped to his butt, and then he stood up and he immediately recovered after covering up and eating some shots. He didn't really look super wobbly. Whereas the rest of that fight was Holloway just putting on a clinic against Gaethje. And keep in mind, Holloway, I mean, Topuria, before knocking out Holloway, he did land several big shots. He did rock Holloway. He knocked Holloway off balance, but still. And then, yeah, obviously he scored the takedown against Holloway. Holloway doesn't have bad defensive wrestling. The hardest part for Topuria would be getting the takedown, but he times it so well that the moment the fight hits the ground, Topuria, he can easily submit Gaethje. If Topuria could take down Gaethje, he will take his back and submit him with ease. And yeah, there is nothing Gaethje can do. Again, Fiziev. Do you remember what Fiziev did to Gaethje on the ground in their second fight? Do you remember the ground exchanges? I mean, yeah, Justin was able to stand back up, and he showed better wrestling. But it looked like Fiziev was submitting a submission from mount. He was setting something up, like a mounted triangle. I don't quite remember, but terrible look. Now, as for Justin Gaethje himself, he has a one-dimensional skill set. He's not going to grapple offensively at all. And if he does shoot a takedown on Topuria, Topuria's just going to stuff it or put him into a guillotine. And Topuria's most potent submission attacks all revolve around the front headlock position. So, yeah, good luck. And he has an insane guillotine. I mean, he has an insane regular guillotine, arm-in guillotine, and seated arm triangle, which are not the same thing. It's not the arm-in guillotine. But anyways, yeah, I mean, Gaethje, he has what? A big overhand right, a jab, a left hook, and a rear uppercut, and then a low kick. And then occasionally he throws a high kick or a rolling thunder. And that's pretty much it. He doesn't seem to elbow, he doesn't seem to knee, and he falls back on the same defensive tendencies that are very easy to exploit. I mean, Topuria's defensive tendencies, they're somewhat predictable. He does stick to the fundamentals, but he does them so well they're not so easy to exploit. There's no apparent way to, or there's no reliable way to exploit his defensive tendencies. Whereas Gaethje, his defensive tendencies, like how he constantly ducks every time you close the distance and start throwing shots at him, that's very easy to exploit. I mean, Topuria, you know he's drilling that uppercut. You know he's going to look for it in this fight. So, yeah, the only weapon that's kind of problematic for Topuria, because the punches of Gaethje are no problem. Again, Paddy Pimblett, zero head movement. Gaethje couldn't knock him out. Gaethje's power is super overrated. One KO win since he fought Khabib. He's only knocked one person out, and that was with the head kick. It wasn't even with his hands. So yeah, his power is mad overrated. He looks like he's fighting underwater at this point. Look at Gaethje fighting Pimblett, and then look at Topuria fighting, who is it, Charles Oliveira. The speed difference is completely insane. That's why I think Gaethje only has like 5 serious exchanges before Topuria chins him. Like where they're both in the pocket, committed to throwing punches. It's going to be so one-sided, it's not even funny. So, what was I talking about? This is what happens when I don't have a script. I mean, I never have a script. But anyways, yeah, Justin Gaethje, terrible grappling. I already touched on it. Topuria's just going to vaporize him the moment the fight hits the ground. That doesn't even need to be discussed. And yeah, he always gets into brawls. And he's so easy to tag. He's always there to get hit. I mean, remember, he was dominating Pimblett, rocked him, dropped him multiple times. Pimblett still has his moments where he was finding his chin. And people are talking about the leg kicks of Justin Gaethje. How come Gaethje didn't spam leg kicks and chew up Paddy's legs? Why didn't he do that if it was such an obvious thing to go to? I mean, I understand his game plan was to smother Pimblett and try to knock him out, but the leg kicks were right there. So, I didn't see Paddy really limping. I mean, Gaethje landed a bunch of low kicks against Holloway. Didn't seem to massively affect his movement. I mean, if your opponent can survive 25 minutes and they're not limping in the 5th round, they're probably not, they're not the weapon that everyone's hyping them up to be. So, okay, this is sort of me recapping a lot of the things that I said. Overrated in every sense. Like Gaethje, his power is overrated. His resume is overrated. His wrestling is overrated. Everything about him is overrated. Yeah, I mean, is there even anything for me to discuss? Just the number one thing is just his power. Just you also have to contrast it to Topuria. Topuria, not even an iron chin. He has a titanium chin. He ate a flush head kick moving up a weight class that he didn't even see coming. There was no anticipation. That's what matters more than just having a good chin genetically. It's all anticipation and bracing for the shot. He ate that flush, immediately recovered, started to chain wrestle Jai Herbert, and then slammed him, and then knocked him out in the next round. So just based on that alone, even if Gaethje were to catch Topuria, like with a perfect punch right on the chin, it's not even guaranteed to flatline Topuria. There's a very good chance Topuria would survive like the picture perfect punch. And even so, Topuria sees all these shots coming. Amazing eyes, amazing reflexes, some of the best that I think I've ever seen in MMA. So he's going to be rolling with the punches, looking for countering opportunities. And you have to think, oh, well, Gaethje could always fluke KO Topuria. Well, what's more likely? Is it more likely Topuria finds the kill shot or Gaethje finds the kill shot? Again, Topuria to begin with is incredibly hard to hit clean. He's shown a titanium chin. He never gets rocked. He never gets dropped in his fights, except for the Jai Herbert fight. But Volkanovski, Holloway, Oliveira, they couldn't drop him or hurt him on the feet. And Topuria also has dynamite in his hands with excellent timing and technique and precision. And then you have Gaethje, who's just inferior in all those departments. He's been flatlined. Well, he got flatlined by Holloway. He's been knocked out multiple times. Always gets rocked. Always gets into wars. Overrated power. Yeah, super overrated durability. I just talked about that. Much slower than Topuria. Inferior boxing. Inferior defense. Inferior eyes and reflexes. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. Now, next, I need to discuss the intelligence of Topuria. This is a very crucial. I know I sound like I'm being sarcastic. I'm actually kind of dead serious when I say this. Yeah, anyways. So Topuria, if I'm not mistaken, he speaks 5 languages. I don't know what degree of proficiency he's at, but I mean, I know he speaks German. He speaks like, whatever language they speak in Georgia. Is it just Georgian? He speaks Russian. He speaks Spanish. He speaks English. So at least 5 languages. I'd assume that he's conversational in them. He has a genius understanding of MMA. The way that he talks about strategy and technique, you can tell he's not just someone who outsources his thinking to his coaches and just the coach does all the thinking and then he just integrates that into his muscle memory. He's not one of those fighters. He could genuinely game plan on his own. Topuria also has he has the top just recovery, training, preparation, protocol, whatever you want to call it, in MMA right now. He's basically Batman. He can speak English coherently. He's never lost by KO. And his last 3 opponents are superior to Gaethje by like orders of magnitude. Do you think Gaethje would knock out this version of Oliveira in a rematch? No. Oliveira would take him down and destroy him on the ground. Would he beat Holloway at 155? I mean, well, Topuria beat him at 145, but anyways. Yeah, 155 Holloway already destroyed Gaethje, and I'm pretty sure Topuria would also beat Holloway at 155. And then, yeah, Volkanovski just... I mean, even Volkanovski at 155. You really think Gaethje would flatline him in the second round like Topuria did? Come on. And not to use... I mean, sometimes MMA math is valid. That's what people don't understand. Like, but people always see things in black and white. It's either MMA math is completely and utterly nonsensical, or they only use MMA math. There's no nuance. Sometimes, when looking at certain types of fights and in certain situations, MMA math can work if you just use it right. I mean, obviously, that's so... Like, everyone uses MMA math, whether you want to believe it or not. I mean, yeah, it's so obvious when you put it like that. Now, compared to Justin Gaethje, he got mocked by both of Ilya's sons. He has probably a 43 IQ, and that's being extremely generous. He slurs his speech and takes excessive time to formulate simple thoughts. I'm just going to read this verbatim, because, like, what else can I add? He's gone through quite a few wars. He's been KO'd brutally. He has no brain power of his own, so he outsources everything to Trevor Whitman, and he's just a walking CTE battery. Even the fights that Gaethje decisively wins, there's always moments where his opponents could fluke him, and where his opponents have an opportunity to brawl and land big shots on him. I mean, you look at the Michael Chandler fight. Chandler rocked him on the feet. They were exchanging a lot of big shots. Even the time he flatlined Poirier in the second round, Poirier rocked him in the first shot, I believe with a straight left. Gaethje can never have a truly clean fight. Like a truly clean, decisive win where he shows no moment of weakness. There's always that moment of weakness. It's impossible. He is not going to beat Topuria. Topuria has already won. I'm going to keep saying this. The fight is already over. There is a 100% chance Topuria wins this fight, and it's not even close. It's everything I said about chance. I mean, chance really isn't real. Again, chance is just ignorance. It's filling in the blanks. This event, yeah, right now there's a potential, because the event technically hasn't happened. There's a potential. But once that potential is actualized, the result becomes 100%, and there only is one outcome that's possible. That has already happened, really. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. Justin Gaethje, he's doomed. He's going to be viciously knocked out or submitted. For his sake, I hope he's submitted in the first round. And it doesn't matter what sort of cope videos people make. It doesn't matter what sort of how do I say it? Just the result is set in stone. And don't let people fool you into thinking Gaethje has a chance. He does not have a chance. This fight is a foregone conclusion.